This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Potsy and Tino on the Potsy and Tino Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings to you the tag team champions of the world. That's right, the Road Dogg Tino Gray, the badass Rob Potsy Potchak, the old age outlaws, once again, the Potsy and Tino Show. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. Thank you to the American Nightmare, the WWE Universal Champion, not even Universal, what is Undisputed Champion now.
Something like that, yeah.
Undisputed Champion, Cody Rhodes, for that nice little intro. Tino, we always start the show with our little segment we call What's Up With You, my friend?
Not a whole lot, man. I'm excited. They finally finished. I tell you, they finally, the backyard is completely done now. They got the fence up. They put the grass down, and Nicole's out there watering. We had to water it because it's just seedlings down there. The dog doesn't know what to do with herself because she's like, what's all this? And she tried, when dogs go to the bathroom, they have to do that kick thing. Well, when they first put grass down, they have to put the seeds, they put the hay, and there's like this straw like material or like the string kind of material on top. So when she kicks, her damn nail gets caught up in that. She's like, what the hell is this? And so it's fun watching her freak out. And we just sit there and laugh at her. But happy about that. There's not a whole lot going on, man. Work's going pretty good. They gave me my shoulder. I thought I was going to have to have my shoulder's been hurting me. And a few years back, I heard it, something simple, putting the speaker on a stand, and I managed to pull it. So they gave me the cortisone shot, and that worked for years. And then a couple weeks ago, I was running through the house. We were leaving. I was trying to turn off the lights, and I reached back into the kitchen to turn off the lights. So I'm still going. So it like bent my arm back, and so that re-aggravated it. And I thought I tore something. But by the time I got to the doctor, she said, "Nah, you're good. Just keep heat on it." And she gave me muscle relaxers because at night it would hurt. When I try to sleep, it would hurt. So muscle relaxers try to help.
You're just old and not stretchy anymore.
I must not be, dude, because that was something stupid and simple. I mean, you get old and the stupid things you get hurt the worst. I'm like, dude, I could fall flat on my face. And no, I just kind of like boop, and like, I think I tore my what is this, the rotator cuff. I think I tore
it. So I got one for you. So I went to Fayetteville this weekend, and I was driving in the car. When I was driving in the car, I always put my left knee like as far over so it's actually hitting the car door while I'm in the car, and like the armrest sticks out a little bit, so it hits like a certain spot, like right where like one of those leg muscles is, and now I got a bruise because I would push my leg up against it for so long that it bruised the damn thing.
I got one better. Sometimes if I yawn or if I move the wrong way, I'll get this intense cramp, and I gotta stand up and try to stretch it to get that cramp out of my side. I'm like, the hell is this? And then we tried Saturday is when I took the first muscle relaxer, and I thought I was allergic to it, and then we figured out it's probably not what it was. We had gone to Wendy's and we tried the new Krabby Patty, right? Burger. And so I was like, all right, I ate that, and I was like, oh. And then I needed my muscle relaxer at night to get ready to go to bed. And then right under my stomach, right around my base, it is just kind of like cramp. I'm like, man, I got shit. I got shit. And I go in the bathroom, and all of a sudden, when you about to throw up, I mean, I'm just pouring sweat. I'm like, oh my God. And it was coming out of both ends. I'm like, it's this muscle relaxer. And then Nicole's like, I think you got a bad burger, because I took the muscle relaxer last night, didn't have that. So I think it was the burger. Something was up with the burger. I might have had a bad burger, had food poisoning.
I mean, they missed the idea of when they should have had a Krabby Patty come out by like 15 years, didn't they? So maybe they just been sitting in the freezer, and they were like, "Oh shit, we gotta get rid of these."
And it's just the regular Wendy's sandwich, and they put I call it a Wish Big Mac sauce. I got it from Wish. They got it or Timu, because it was like a Big Mac sauce, which is a little spicier than Big Mac sauce, and then they had the pineapple frosty with the mangoes and all that. Yeah, it
That
was
all sounds
okay.
disgusting.
It actually wasn't that bad, but it wasn't. Everybody's like on TikTok like, "Oh my god, it's." I'm like, eh, eh.
Yeah,
It was a Dave's single with mac sauce.
man, that doesn't even sound like a Krabby Patty. Like it sounds like it needs a
So
couple of patties on it.
I mean, you could get it single, double, or triple, but I'm like, I'm glad I only got the single because the single fucked me up like that.
So on the way home from Fayetteville yesterday, I was really hungry, so I stopped at a Hardee's, right?
I haven't been
And
to Hardee's in years.
me neither, but I was like, okay, I'm getting off at this exit because otherwise I'm gonna get stuck in like fair traffic and shit. So I got off, like exit 295 on I-40, and I stop at a Hardee's and I order the bag that they make where you get like 2 sandwiches, a thing of fries, and a drink, right? Now I order it, and the guy says to me, he goes, because I'm looking at the price on it and it says it's $5.99, right? So I'm thinking, okay, 635, 646, something like that with tax. So he just goes, "Do you want that medium or large?" And I was like, "Well, if those are my only 2 options, medium, like make it the smallest one possible." I pull up to the window, and she's like, "It's 748," and I'm like, "Why is it 748 when it said it was 5.99?" And
Because the
she goes,
small was probably
"Because you ordered medium." I said, "Well, I wasn't offered small." So you know what she says to me? She goes, "Well, that's because we're running a contest." And I said, "I don't care if you're running a contest. Like, I should still be offered all 3 sizes of a meal." Because it wasn't, do you want to upsize it to medium or large? It was, do you want medium or large? And I look at her in the window and I'm just like, I'll pay the extra $1. I don't care, but that's bullshit. She gave me my food. But that's bullshit. Like I said, if he had said, "Do you want to upgrade that to medium or large?" That's fine, because then I could say no. But he didn't give me that option.
you got.
Yeah, and all for probably like 4 more French fries and 6 more cubes of ice.
Hey, they got you.
Yeah, yeah. So what else is going on with you?
Trying to think. I have to go to a friend of mine. Her mother passed, so we're going to that funeral on Saturday, and that one kind of hurts because I've known this person for a long time, and I've known their parents. I know her brother. I mean, she used to manage one of the bands I was in, so that's how close we are. I mean, we're real close friends. So that kind of kind of hits home, because like I said, I knew her mom and dad. They were
Yeah,
always nice to us, and they used to own a restaurant. We used to go there and get to eat, just little stuff. They always welcomed us to the house whenever because we would play out of town and they lived there. We just stay at their house, wouldn't have to worry about hotel, and they take us out on the lake and just real nice people. So it kind of hit, yeah, it hit close to home. So I've been making sure she's okay, and just trying to. I told her, I mean, because when somebody passes away, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Let me know if there's anything I can do." But I wanted her to know, no, no, really. I mean, it's if you just want to come and if
yeah.
you
If you
want
just
to watch
want
the
to, if
kids,
you want to get away for a couple days, come down this way. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
If you want somebody to, if you want to talk, if you just want to sit there and not talk to somebody sit with you, we'll do that because we were there for her same way when because she her first marriage ended. We did the same thing. So I think we're close. So she gets it. He's like, I think she knows that we're not just saying it. Not, when we say it, we really mean it. You know what I mean? It's not just something that people say and they don't
Right.
really, they're like, oh. But other than that, like I said, um, father-in-law's got to have surgery on his shoulder, but he's having real surgery, and so that's tomorrow.
Yeah, and you told me that we got to be off here at like right at 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, yeah. If we can get off early, that'd be good because I got to be up. because I already had to get the 5:30 for Matthew, but now with this, I gotta might be a little. I'm like, oh, so and yeah, so we're gonna so we're gonna help him out. Nicole's spending the night there tonight. Um, so I think she wants to go, so we'll both go tomorrow. I'll just be there for her because she gets it, well, while it's a routine surgery, it's still her dad, so she still gets kind of, especially they're getting up there in age, so and all our parent, my friends' parents are getting older and some are passing, so whenever he has surgery, they have to put him under. She gets what's up, Michael Turner?
Always
She gets
ever since COVID happened too, like every surgery anybody seems to have that I know about, like there's, and I'm hoping not, but I'm gonna say, but there just seems to be like some sort of complication in just about everything, and we don't want that. So we're thinking about you for it, but
so yeah, I was like, well, I was almost like, I'm not. I said I can just if we can get out here early, we can still do a show. I didn't want to be like I don't want to do a show because then I just would have been just sitting here. Probably wouldn't have even fall asleep anyway. So I'm like, so we go ahead and knock the show out, and and
no, absolutely, and that's kind of what I was thinking too. I was like, he's probably going to want to, and of course I was like, oh, he's not going to be over here doing it because he wants to go to bed early. So
yeah, and then Sunday going with Nicole and some of her teacher friends. I get to be, because I'm the husband, and I think another husband's going. We're going to some Fear Farm type of place on Sunday. So that's gonna be. I love shit like that. So that's gonna be fun. I mean, I'm looking forward. I'm excited about that.
well, that's cool. This past weekend I was at Fayetteville for Fayetteville Comic Con. This coming weekend I'm going to Alabama. I'm going to be down there from Friday till
That's right.
Hopefully driving back early enough Monday. Because obviously I got to work Tuesday, but going down for the Alabama Missouri game, which suddenly doesn't look as good as it was looking, because it was going to be like you were thinking they both only had one loss. It's going to be a really, really like ruckus atmosphere and everything, but now Alabama's got 2 losses, so who knows? But the Fayetteville Comic Con, it's the last one that Keith is doing, the guy who was running the show. So things are going to be a little bit different when it comes to the Fayetteville market going forward. They always invited me out to the show, always hooked me up with the hotel and everything. So going forward, it looks like we might not, he's not going to be running it. So we don't know what's really the case. Like there's rumor that there's going to be some sort of show in April, some sort of show in October, but not run by him. So don't even know like what the status is about going out there, being at the show, doing anything like that. So a little bit up in the air with that one. Sent the pages of Died Hard to the publisher today. They are fully done at this point. So number 1 is ready to go. It's ready to go to the printer as soon as we get our figures and our numbers in on it next week. So I'm going to point out to everybody, I hope everybody decides to head to their local comic shop, buy a copy or multiple copies. Jay Hammond, the artist, has been doing a really good job with putting it out there and making like these funny things like if you want to help a starving artist, go to your local comic shop and put down $6 on this copy of this comic. Like the Sally Struthers thing. Like if you want to help him be able to buy candy and comic books, please just go to the local comic store and help this man out. So I thought that was pretty funny.
They're going to be playing Sarah McLachlan in the background.
Through the road of the wreckage. Yeah, exactly.
For $1 a day.
For just a cup of coffee. Do you bitches know how much a cup of coffee costs now? So, I got NC Comic Con coming up in just a couple weeks. I think there's like 27 days or something until maybe even less. I think it's November 9th, November 10th. So I will show it to the show. We have a special scrapper print that I haven't even opened out of the package yet.
What is that?
So it's for Scrapper. Cliff Bleszinski, the creator of Gears of War, a good buddy of mine, also going to be at the show. So I went ahead and I already had my, what I like to call my Frank Miller Bark Knight Returns cover, because that's what it says, Bark Knight Returns. Where is it? There it is. Bark Knight Returns. You know, like the old Batman cover that looks pretty much like it, but instead it's the Husky.
Oh, okay. So Scrapper's a husky. I hadn't heard of it. I didn't know.
Yeah, he's a genetically enhanced dog, so he's got superpowers and stuff. He's got a collar that has all these different powers that happen off of it too. Talks to other animals, you know, like most of those types of comics do. So, but since we'll both be at the show, I asked him, "Hey, are you cool if I make prints of this and then we can both sign them?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, that sounds cool." Now, I'm a little upset though because my friends at Cat Print, like I got these other ones that do the holofoil. You can kind of see it shining right there.
Mm-hmm.
Except the artwork didn't come out right. So, and I don't know if I've got enough time to try to reorder them, and those cost me like 3 times as much as the other ones. So I was like, don't know what I'm gonna do about that. Like, I think I might just go down to Staples or something and make even more prints out of it, but just the regular version, because nobody seems to. What bothers me is I want to do. You know how I have those holographic stickers?
Yeah.
That I've done? Well, the whole point was to get this to look like those, and yet, for whatever reason, nobody's got that kind of paper. They've got stickers like that, but they don't have paper like that. You'd think paper is easier.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking to see if I can find a print option that will do it. I found one that actually says they'll do like just foil printing on it, so I could get like the lightning in foil, which would be kind of cool.
Right.
But just not exactly the same as what I was trying to do. You know what I mean? So anyway, there's that. Got to hang out with a bunch of people I don't normally get to see this weekend. That was cool. Like I said, driving down to Alabama next week, so I'm gonna be looking for things to listen to and whatever, because it is an 8-hour and 12-minute drive, and I've got to go directly through Atlanta to get to where he's at.
So find you a podcast, or find you listen to what you call it, Busted Open. I'm sure you got some back ones you haven't heard about listening to.
Well, I don't like listening to Busted Open unless I'm listening to it that day. Like I hate even the fact that like when I'm driving at night, they'll have it like replayed, because they're always like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the phone lines," and I always want to call in, but then I don't, because you know it's not the live episode. So I don't know. What I had been doing when I go on long trips is like Marvel has done like these show podcasts where it's like a full original Marvel story, and they hire like Robert Patrick to play Wolverine and stuff like that, and those are normally really good. Like they had the Black Widow was played by Susan Sarandon because it was like Old Man Logan.
Mm-hmm.
So they got all these older actors to do these voices, like Danny Glover was in it, and you know, like all these people were in it, and it was really good. But they're only like 3 hours, and they're in like 30-minute episodes, so you've got to keep going back to your app and changing it again.
So what I do, you don't have Apple, but I have, and you probably find it. I have the Apple Podcasts, so I listen to big ones. Like I like listening to, what's the one DPW? They do like, 2 long ones, so I'll listen to them. Say when
those guys
I'm
are
on the road.
hilarious.
And just find their podcast and just listen to them. They do recaps of like old shows, and they put their spin on it and like what happens. They are hilarious, and that's what I listen to a lot of times going to Hickory. Yes, I just put them on and just laughing about it. Saying, my car ride's over. That's a 2.5, almost 3-hour drive.
Yeah, like what I've started doing is I'll find like a band that I really like, and I'll use my phone to pull up YouTube, and I'll have it playing, because it'll play through the speakers in my car through the Bluetooth. But I'll have it play like their entire concerts.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'll listen to live concerts.
You probably put on a WrestleMania. That'll last you quite a bit.
No, I could put on an AEW pay-per-view. It'd be the whole trip.
I don't think that you gotta find one, but yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah, I'll just use those meth streams, So speaking of Apple, today when I got off work, I was like, well, I got a couple hours before Tino's either, before we do the show. I don't really feel like writing another episode of trivia right now. I got a couple other things that I'm like messing around with. But I go to my TV because I got my Sony TV, which is a Google TV, Android TV. And it tells me that I can watch season 2, episode 1 of the Apple TV show Shrinking, which is by the same guy who did Ted Lasso, did Scrubs, did all that stuff. And it's got Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother, and it's got and the other big actor in it is Harrison Ford. So and what I really like about it, Tino, is Harrison Ford actually plays a vulnerable character, because in everything Harrison Ford's just, get the hell away from me, kid. I'll shoot you in the face. Like everything he's in, that's what he is now,
Because in real life, he's probably open crotchety.
Well, exactly. And you're 100% right. So, but in Shrinking, he plays a character who is old and crotchety, but he's vulnerable because he has Parkinson's as well.
Oh.
So like he'll just be sitting there and you'll see him doing this, and then he'll like grab it with his other hand, and try to like stop it. But it's still a comedy. So like in the very first episode, when he's realizing his Parkinson's getting bad, he keeps like hitting his neighbor with his car. And he's like, why the hell did you park the damn thing there anyway?
That's what I can't wait to get like older, like in my 80s. I already say what's on my mind now, and I have repercussions. But when I'm like 80, they're like, oh, that's just he's old.
He's just old. Yeah, no, well, is that why you got the white in the beard?
Yeah, you can tell dirty jokes. Oh, he's just
So I go to watch the first episode, and it's like go ahead and click OK to the terms and conditions, and I'm thinking, did I sign up for Apple TV Plus again? Like, am I paying for that shit? So I go through the first episode, and then it goes, oh, if you want to watch the second episode, you have to pay for Apple TV, and I'm like, you motherfucker! Like, because I was freaking out. I was looking on my Google email and everything to try to find if I had like a charge for Apple somewhere.
They got you. So now so how are you going to watch the show now?
I don't know. I'm either gonna have to sign up. Luckily, the Apple TV one is only $10. That, like, all the other ones now are like fucking Peacock tells me that I have to change my credit card number. I go to change my credit card. Suddenly, I'm not paying $5 anymore. I'm paying $14.
Did you do without commercials?
No, I have no commercials. I hate commercials.
You pay extra for that.
Oh, I know, but now you're paying 11 plus another 5 or whatever, so you're paying like $16 for it when you were paying like $10 for it without commercials. Oh. Disney Plus just went up, and I guarantee
they're all going up.
Well, I guarantee as soon as WWE's on Netflix, it's not going to be like $21.95 anymore. That shit's going to end up. What is up, Mr. Helios?
So, do you think Netflix is gonna? Why do you think it's gonna go up? Because are they gonna carry like the pay-per-views and stuff? So that's why they're gonna go up. Because Peacock didn't.
Well, so Peacock just wanted subscribers when they did it. So that's why they signed that $2 billion deal. Everything else, Netflix has all the subscribers, but when you're paying $5 billion for content, you got to figure out a way to make that work with your subscribers, right? So you can either hope that more subscribers are coming into Netflix now, but they already have like 200 million subscribers worldwide. So can you get more subscribers, or do you go, it's going to be $30 a month now because we got WWE?
If it's $30 a month, I'll cancel. I'm not.
Well, and the fact that they're the one that doesn't let you actually have multiple people on it anymore is bullshit. And of course they'll all figure out a way to do that. But I still think that it's funny that you can add a second person to your account for like $7, and like people are still sitting there going, no, I guess I'll just have my own account. So you're going to pay 3 times as much for your own rather than just sitting there and just paying like me pay you $7 to use your account. Like, doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. So that's what's going on with me. But the shrinking one, like, I really started freaking out thinking that I signed up for Apple TV Plus when I didn't. And I was like, what's going on here? Like, and then I looked on my iPad and I wasn't signed into anything. So I was like, why did Google even tell me that I could watch that? Like, I don't even have I didn't even have the Apple app on my TV at that point.
That's weird.
Yeah. So it knows that I want to watch it. This past weekend was also real quick. It was also New York Comic-Con, where James Gunn announced some stuff for the DC Universe movies, TV, all that stuff. They announced the actors who are going to play in Lanterns, which is the Green Lantern stuff. I guess Aaron Pierre is going to play John Stewart, the African American Lantern. They've got Nathan Fillion already signed up to play Guy Gardner, and then they announced Kyle Chandler, the guy from Friday Night Lights. He's going to be Hal Jordan. So the character that Ryan Reynolds played in the movie, Kyle Chandler is going to play him in the TV show. I think that's kind of weird, but I'm okay with it. And then they announced that they showed a trailer for Creature Commandos, which is actually the first thing that when James Gunn got brought in that actually got made. And it's an animated series starting December 5th that's going to have characters that'll interact in like the Superman movie and everything else.
Michael Turner asked you a question.
Do you think Michael, it's called the DCU now, not the DCEU. But to your question, yes, I do. I've got faith in what James Gunn wants to do with it. I think that it's got a really good opportunity to be solid.
Is he the one that just did who did the 4 hour?
No, that was Zack Snyder. He's the guy that
Snyder. Okay.
Him, The Rock. They kicked all them out. They brought in James Gunn, the guy that did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Got it.
And now he's the CEO of the co-CEO of DC movies.
James Gunn. Is he the one that does Peacemaker?
Yes.
And he did other movies, like, was it Top Gun? I know it's Michael Bay. I'm not thinking Michael Bay. Michael Bay did all the Transformers and everything. What did James Gunn do?
The Suicide Squad. Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, and 3. The Suicide Squad.
Outside of DC, did he do anything else?
I mean, he did Slither. He did. God, I mean, he's done a lot at this point. Like,
who was Transformers? It was Michael Bay, right?
What's that?
I think Transformers was Michael Bay. I get those mixed up. I'm getting those mixed up. That
was trash.
Okay, no, I'm getting James Gunn. James Gunn did something else, and I can't remember. It sounds familiar. He did another big movie, I guess, and I can't think what it is. It drives me crazy.
He hasn't done a lot of big movies, actually. Besides his 3 Marvel films, he did, like I said, The Suicide Squad. He did Peacemaker.
Maybe that's okay.
He's directing episodes of the Creature Commandos cartoon. He's right in the middle of Peacemaker season 2.
Yes.
He's directed the new Superman movie that's coming out. So
that's what it is. Okay, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, the one where they showed the poster this past week of Superman sitting on the moon with Krypto. And they're just looking at the Earth. Yeah. Also, a big story coming out of DC Comics is that Jim Lee is coming back to draw the actual regular series Batman series again. So probably the biggest name in comic book art is coming back to do 6 issues of Batman, and then another 6 issues after he, because these 6 issues, I guess, are done and they want to launch it. And then he's going to do an epilogue 6 issues later on down the line. He's the guy that when he went on Batman originally 22 years ago, he did Hush, which they've now made into a cartoon and everything else. So
I saw that on Netflix. I think it was. I watched it.
Yeah. Although in the cartoon they make Hush actually the Riddler. But in the comics, Hush was actually like a childhood friend of Bruce Wayne that was jealous of Bruce Wayne sorry guys, 22 years ago is when this happened. So he's a childhood friend of Bruce Wayne's who gets jealous of Bruce Wayne because when Bruce Wayne's parents die, he gets the entire fortune. And Tommy Elliott, his childhood friend, basically tries to kill his own parents so that he gets the same thing. And instead, Thomas Wayne, before he died, actually saved the mom. So Tommy Elliott never got to have those same luxuries as Bruce Wayne did. Yeah, pretty fucked up. Like when you really think about it, right? Like that guy is psychotic if he's thinking, Bruce has everything now. You know,
I'm gonna kill my parents.
Exactly. So, but they've announced that that's coming up, and I'm pretty excited about it because I mean, anytime Jim Lee sits there and jumps on a book and actually does it for a while, like I wanna make sure that I get it, and I'm signed up to get Batman anyway, so I'll get those issues. Let's go ahead and move on because you know we've gone about half an hour talking about us. I do want to talk about something very sad in the wrestling world this week, Tino.
Yeah.
So based on a 4-picture post on her Twitter account, Samantha Irvin has announced that she will be leaving the WWE. However, the rumor is that the person that they're trying to get to do ring announcing for them now is none other than Lillian Garcia again.
And I don't want to spoil it.
I didn't watch, so go ahead.
I didn't watch either. I got to learn on my phone.
Well, go ahead and say it.
Lillian Garcia's there tonight.
Well, she was at the PLE the other night. She may be the short-term answer because you know, like she's part of the family. Although, how is she not in the WWE Hall of Fame?
She's got to be. It's got to be coming.
Yeah, I would assume it's got to be coming. I would also assume that when Raw goes to Netflix, that you're going to see PLE certain episodes of Raw. You know, like especially if they go to 3 hours again, like the very first episode is going to be PLE like centric. It's going to feel like a PLE. They're going to put on big matches. They're going to bring back, you know, like Hall of Fame wrestlers and everything to show up on the show. You know, that kind of stuff. Because interestingly enough, after Survivor Series, they don't have another PLE until Royal Rumble, which is February 1st this year.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
Is it just the main roster? Because it's not even an NXT either?
They might have an NXT one, but PLE wise, they don't. They've got Saturday Night's Main Event in December, and then they've got the January 6th Raw on Netflix. That is supposed to be a big, massive one.
Isn't the Rumble? The Rumble's usually in January, though, isn't it?
Yep, but
they're not doing it until February.
Well, I mean, it's February 1st, so it might as well be January. But yeah.
And a lot of people are upset about Samantha. Oh, what's she going to do next? Don't be dumb. She's going to AEW. Don't be dumb.
I mean, she might not. She might go to TNA.
Don't be dumb.
Like whatever it is, she said stay tuned, which means you know she's going to ring announcing somewhere else. NXT Jones.
But don't be dumb. She's going to AEW.
Well, like I said, she might not go to AEW initially. You know, like she might have the 90-day clause. That wasn't very much. I'm gonna have to do something about that.
So, all right. So, what else we got?
Oh, what else we got? Well, I mean, let's be real. Like that's a pretty sad moment in pro wrestling because we all love her voice. What else do we got? Where do you want to start? You want to start with AEW?
Okay.
Or do you want to have a rant?
What do I want to rant about? Bitch.
So do you want to have a rant?
Nah, it's not a rant about. It's like, okay, so
there's a little to rant about.
Jordan, okay, so okay. So they're trying to save Superman. and it's
We've
going to be
had a week to
spoilers.
watch it, folks.
You've had a week. You had a week. They're trying to save Superman. So not only does Lois's dad sacrifice himself and he shoots himself with Superman's DNA that they stole that helped create the Mitch that killed Superman, so they can take his heart. Rob did call it, and I don't understand how. I could have sworn he did touch it, but I guess he never did touch it when they were out there fighting. So Jordan touched it. Okay, okay. First rant.
I want to
When,
find my
Jor-
tweet where I actually
when
said
Jordan when Jordan touched it, right? It took him a while to start getting the. But when Jonathan touched it, it's like instantaneous. He gets the X-ray vision. He gets all the sound. So why did it take Jordan so long? Okay, and then they're like, well, because he's more, yeah, I guess, athletic, and he's more da 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 da, right? So instead of being happy that now Dad's gone, now you got somebody, your twin brother, who has your powers and can understand what you're going through. You still gonna be a bitch. Oh, I was born with power. Now he got powers. Now everybody he left him boring. Bitch, shut up. You got the same goddamn powers. You don't like saying GD. You got the same powers. But now your brother gets it, and I wanted to be the only one to touch. I didn't want Jordan. They already loved Jordan, and they already loved Jonathan. And
don't put your Snoopy mask back on.
this.
So okay, couple things there. I have a feeling that there's a couple possibilities. So when Tino says that I called it, this is what I called, folks. When we were watching Superman and
No,
Lois,
you said you called it. You wrote that. I didn't write that. I just read what you wrote. But anyway,
but I actually talked to you about it.
everybody pat Rob on the back.
So what I was saying and what it actually was that when the show started, Jordan touched the spaceship that Clark came to Earth on. And when he did, that's when his powers started to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
And they never explained it. They never talked about it. And everybody was like, why doesn't Jonathan have powers? But Jordan does. Oh, well, maybe Jonathan's more human and Jordan's more Kryptonian. Big deal, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like while we're waiting the full year for the show to come back, I sit there and I post on Twitter. And I actually posted it to the people making the show. I was like, hey, CW, what if the reason why Jonathan never got the powers was because Jordan touched the spaceship and Jonathan never did? And lo and behold, in the last episode, Jonathan busts his hand on something and he's sitting there going, ow, ow, ow. And he puts his hand down, touches the spaceship, and you even see the spaceship go like that. And before you know it, all the powers. Now,
so are you saying that CW and these writers should give you credit?
No,
I didn't have that planned out.
No. What I really think is that because I'm a writer, that's something that I would have put in like the initial stuff of he does that so that way if we ever get the moment to come back to it, we want Jonathan to have powers. This is how we can, quick comeuppance on it. Now, to your question of why did all of his powers manifest amazingly fast? I have two possibilities that I think, and this is obviously not what they're saying, but we're on the air, might as well go ahead and say it. One, Jordan was on a lot of medications for his social anxiety and everything else, his autism and everything else. So there's a possibility that those medications actually slowed down the powers coming in. That would make sense.
Okay, I can see that.
The other one could also be that they are now 3 years older. So the powers hitting him would hit faster because he's more matured already. So you said more athletic. I would say that it's because he's older, so the powers hit faster. Similar to how they did in Man of Steel when Zod takes off his mask and all of a sudden the powers instantly hit him and he starts like firing off, like laser beams and he can't breathe all of a sudden. Because if you remember in that movie, they talk about how Superman had the issue where like when his power started to manifest, it was like debilitating to his lungs and everything else. So there's a possibility that it's that too, that because he's been on Earth as long as he's already adapted to Earth. He's not taking those medications. Could also have something to do with that X-kryptonite from 2 seasons ago that he took. All of a sudden, it's allowing the powers to manifest faster. Any number of things could be used there. They're never going to get a chance to explain that, I don't think, because they only have 6 episodes left at this point. But I also think that it was, hey, we ruined the whole budget with the first episode, so we got to have just that one quick, everything hits him all at once. And I love how he doesn't have the problem where he's hearing everybody over the planet. He's sitting there grabbing an apple and going, it's just amazing to smell like the fibers of it.
When it first hit, he was hearing everything. Like when it first hit.
But he figured it out. You know, like his body adapted to it a lot faster than Jordan's did and whatever. And that could also have something to do with the fact that they've been spending more time at the Fortress of Solitude and all that. Like maybe his body was already adapting to Kryptonian. He just wasn't gaining the powers because he hadn't touched the Kryptonian technology to actually ignite it. I don't know, but I thought it was really funny that I was saying that, and you were like, "No, I could swear he touched it too."
I thought he did.
And you had me convinced that he had, but we know that that's now why the powers actually started up. So
I was wrong. I thought I thought they both did. So,
but yeah, anyways. So, but like you said, Jordan's still a bitch.
Yes, Jordan's still a bitch.
He's doing that thing where Lex Luthor's able to manipulate him, probably because he's always felt like he was less than, and of course, Lex Luthor's sitting there saying, "I bet she tells you that she loves you both the same," and then all of a sudden he plays the message from the previous episode where it was like, "If you'd like to kill Jordan, press." I was like,
oh. Don't play. He said, "You chose Jordan. Thank you." And I had to announce, "You pressed 2. Oh, thank you for saving Jordan." That was the setup. That was the setup.
And the thing that really pissed him off was he's like, he wasn't even in trouble. What? He's human. He's always in trouble.
You have powers, bitch. You can take care of yourself. I'm gonna do my Thai Conte. You have powers, bitch.
No, you just. So by the way, the only person that's allowed to do that now is Okada.
Until Ty comes back, they're gonna have a bitch off. Bitch. Bitch.
He just look at her and go, bitch. Speaking of that, now that we've ranted about Superman. By the way, show's been excellent so far.
Yes. It pissed me off that first 2 episodes.
I still think we're a full episode away from getting Superman back.
It might be tonight because he kind of.
What's funny is my buddy Jeremy, who runs the movie theater, who I always talk about Superman and Lois with. He sat there, messaged me, and he goes, they wouldn't have been able to step on Superman's heart. Superman's heart should have been like indestructible. Which didn't I send that to you in a text message?
I have to look and see.
But I think I did, and then he said the exact same thing to me, and I was like, well, maybe it degrades fast because, blah, 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 whatever. But anyways, I still don't think that one that Lex Luthor stepped on was the actual heart. And we might end up having to have emergency surgery to put what I think is where Superman's heart actually is back into him before the end of the season. But anyway, let's move on.
You should also wonder if Superman's heart could be squished by a human. Wouldn't it be also extra strong? So that's what you said.
So I said that to you, and then he said it to me.
Uh-oh.
All right, here we go. John Moxley's group. These are the big moments that I thought were actually like in the show. Besides Okada saying "bitch,"
he still doesn't have a name for this group, and he's still, if you notice, not wearing that title. And I'm thinking that title was what's in that suitcase that Maria Shafir is lugging around.
That's the expect. But I expect it to be a different title. Like I expect it to be a brand new title belt.
Okay. And I can see Moxley. Well, Moxley right now is like, we don't need titles. We don't do this for titles. Da, 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 da. I'm like, then what? Then why don't you let your boys lose theirs? If you're not doing it for titles, why did you cheat and help them keep their damn trio titles?
So now I do wanna state that I hadn't realized that Wheeler Yuta turned on Bryan Danielson.
I hadn't either. It must have been at the pay per view we didn't
Must
watch.
have been at the pay-per-view. And now he just has all these weird looks on his face every time Moxley's talking. He's like, but I do want to. So I'm gonna probably get a little wound up here. But I want to say that right now, I remember the last time I saw a group just start beating everybody up and breaking shit around the arena, and there were guys named T-Bar.
Nexus.
No, Retribution.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Retribution was the last group like this where they said everything sucked and we're going to change the game and we're going to change the way everything's done. And by the way,
you finish yours because I got an important question I want to ask you.
Okay. So I'm not buying into this bullshit with Jon Moxley sitting here giving these speeches and everything right now, because right now all he is to me is Little Ali in Retribution. Okay? And Retribution was a flop from day one. Well, day two, because the first time when they all showed up and they started breaking shit, everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? And they were actually into it. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, now we have to come out in these weird, funny, weird fucking like gimp masks and shit. And before you knew it, like the whole gimmick was broken because, well, Vince McMahon was fucking crazy. So, go ahead.
So, the Young Bucks were in the Young Bucks, and I think Jungle Boy was in the ring.
Yep.
They were having a match.
Yep.
Moxley and his crew come out. Wreck just run shot over everybody. And the execs, whose company is back off. They're scared. They're gonna let. First of all, I can't believe the Young Bucks are gonna share the spotlight and let anybody outshine them. But they're gonna let them do that and not do anything. And when they're questioned on it, they're like, we're staying out of the way.
Well, so the Young Bucks is 3-time AEW Tag Team Champions, but Moxley is a 4-time AEW World Champion, which means right now in the hierarchy, Jon Moxley is still that pet for Tony Khan, and the Young Bucks are next in line. So Jon Moxley gets whatever he wants because he's the teacher's pet, but the other ones just don't get in trouble for making all the shit happen.
But they're gonna just let it ride. They're gonna let if somebody came in my company try to tell me they're taking over my company,
you know better than that. You know better than that. What they're doing is they're starting to lead up to the Young Bucks being baby faces again, and I still think it's gonna fall apart like diarrhea. Like right now, nobody buys the Young Bucks as baby faces, but them leaving the way that they did, like right now, and then the other baby faces not being powerful enough to stop them means that at some point they're going to have to be the baby faces to stop Moxley's group or to stand up against them.
The only way they're going to turn babyface, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, and I'm going to tell you who I think can stop Moxley.
Kenny Omega.
Once Kenny Omega comes back, he might come back to save the Young Bucks. That rub is going to help the Young Bucks turn face, and then they're going to be the ones. The EVPs are going to be the one to, just like when you had the WWE ECW invasion, right? WWE came out. AEW and whatever Moxley's doing, Kenny Omega comes back, helps the Young Bucks. They're AEW, and they're the
I got to throw a wrench in that at least at the beginning, because Kenny Omega was on a YouTube show with, I think it wasn't Naito, I think it was Tanahashi, and they have shaken hands and said they want to face the Young Bucks for the AEW tag team titles. And it wasn't Ibushi, because I would have thought it would have been Kota Ibushi, because then it would have been the golden showers or whatever they're called.
You can still do that. You can still do that. They're fighting.
Well, you can, but you got to get through that first, because that's going to be at like the Wrestle Kingdom or whatever's the next thing, like the next night in New Japan. Like Kenny Omega's going to. What I find really weird about this is right now Kenny Omega's scheduled to make his return at a New Japan show rather than an AEW show. You know, he's coming back from where they, you know, Jack Perry said it this week. He said they cut out 20 feet of your intestines, which, by the way, 20 feet, you only have 26 feet of them. So I'm going to say that they probably cut out like 2 feet, because that's typically what they do with diverticulitis or Crohn's disease or any of those things. I could be wrong. He might only have 4 feet, which means he eats, he shits. There's no in between at that point. So what did Chris Barrett say? Moxley is the big dog of a. Yeah, exactly. He's. I like how he said Koki Khan, but my problem with it right now when it comes to Moxley's group is that while I buy them as badasses because at least him and Claudio actually are, and Marina Shafir is a true legit shoot fighter. So 3 of them are legit badasses.
Would you say Moxley,
Claudio, and Shafir. Now Wheeler Yuta, they've been trying to build up to look that way because he's had those big bloody feuds with Moxley and Danielson. Then with Pac, Pac basically lost his pack, if you will. He literally lost his group because he was part of Death Triangle. I want to say something about the Motor City Machine Guns, but I know we're going to talk about them in a little bit. But and I'm trying to not talk too long tonight so that we can move forward with things. But the Moxley thing to me right now is interesting, but it's still not getting people to buy tickets to the show. Whereas I think like from WWE's side, the Kevin Owens stuff where they're telling him to stay home and he's showing up and he's beating people up in the parking lot, I think that is more intriguing than what Moxley's doing by hopping in the back of a Dodge Ram and being ridden off, and Wheeler Yuta looking at him like you just killed my dog, you know?
Yeah.
So again, these were the 4 things that I really wanted to talk about tonight from Dynamite. If you want to talk about other stuff, you can.
Adam Cole, his little speech that he made, and trying to call MJF out. MJF's like, nah.
I mean, MJF's the smart heel, right? But it's so weird that because of the turn of events, that Adam Cole was supposed to play the heel in this, and now he has to come out and say, I told you I want to do this alone, Undisputed Kingdom. So he's not even in his group anymore, that they started specifically for him to take down MJF.
I don't know what they're doing.
Dude, this is the problem that Vince had the last 3 or 4 years of his career. It's the problem that WCW had at the end of its tenure. It's the problem that when Bischoff and Hogan were in charge of TNA, that they had this kind of problem. Although they did have some long-term booking while Bischoff and Hogan were there, because they had the Aces and Eights story and they had other stuff. The idea that Tony Khan is trying to book 5 hours of programming a week, he's trying to book 7-hour pay-per-views, he's trying to book Ring of Honor, like, you need help and you need stories. Like, I'm not saying you need elaborate stories. You need bad guy versus good guy and actually building up to a match. That's why the Hangman and Swerve stuff was so fucking good. Like, the Danielson stuff, they botched Danielson's entire title run because they had Moxley beat the shit out of him when he won the title, like shortly thereafter. And then he never got comeuppance on Moxley. And then when he finally faced him, he lost. Like, how is the babyface? Like, I'm okay with the babyface losing and retiring in their hometown, but how do you not beat the shit out of Moxley before it?
Or even after.
Especially since he kept saying, I'm going to kick your fucking head in.
He never got a chance.
Never got the chance. So, yeah, I have a problem with that. The MJF part, I'm adding to the Adam Cole thing. MJF gave another great, side promo on, but it was a good promo from Adam Cole, and I like Adam Cole as a babyface. But I almost feel like Adam Cole and Jay White right now are in like the same exact spot.
Yeah.
So at some point, one's going to get pushed and the other's not. And then when that one fails at winning the title, the other one's going to get pushed and still not win the title. Because I have a feeling Moxley's going to be champ for a while. So I almost hope that what they're doing is they're trying to hold off until their first show in January, because they're then going to be on Max as well, which means they're going to get viewership just from people going, oh, what's this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I almost hope that their first episode in January, they go, let's hit it, but I'm really worried about their long-term booking when it isn't a story that includes Jericho, when it isn't a story that includes MJF, and Jericho's been, oh my God, like him booking this whole thing himself, he is. I'm okay with the Mark Briscoe feud, but it better end with Mark Briscoe giving him a pile driver to where he gets out of this fucking learning tree bullshit. Okay. Last one I wanted to talk about is this right here, the Monet no popping the crowd. I read
you talked about that last week.
Well, I want to talk about it this week because I read an article today from, I think, Sportskeeda, where fans are basically going on all social media and saying, stop pushing her. We don't even want to see her on TV.
Oh, damn.
And with the amount of money that Tony Khan is paying her, I said this when she left WWE. If you don't give her what she wants, she's not going to do what you want her to. So if she's not over with this CEO thing, it didn't work as a babyface when she walked in. It's not working as a heel right now. Like, what do you do with her? Like, at this point, have Willow Nightingale beat her. That's what you should do. Have her beat her for the championship, and then you could even do it to where Willow wins that title, then gets beat down by all the other heels like Saraya and Harley Jade and whatever. You have all of them beat Willow Nightingale down, and then as Monet is walking up the stage, she turns around and she runs back to make the save. And all of a sudden, you have a little sympathy for her because she went and did the right thing. But right now, nobody's chanting the CEO thing. Nobody gives a shit about her fucking dance. Like, her wrestling has been just a step above mediocre.
And they need to bring Camille, because I think Camille would be good on her own. I think Camille would fucking be a phenomenal female monster.
Yeah.
I think as long as she's with Monet, they're not using her to her potential.
I think that their plan was to do the same thing they did with Mariah May and Toni Storm, where you bring her in as, as the one that's got her back and doing all that. But Camille is a monster. She's as big as Charlotte Flair, maybe even bigger than, I don't know, because I've never seen them stand next to each other, but I know that she's a brick shithouse.
Oh, Camille's a good 6 foot, so yeah, her and Charlotte are about the same size.
But both of them, compared to a Monet, compared to a Bailey or whatever, who are 5'2", 5'3", they look great. But right now, she's just sitting there going, "Yep, she hired me to be here, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm dieseling." Okay, well that's fine, but nobody's seen you wrestle.
She
No,
wrestled.
did she on what Collision?
I think so. Yeah, I think she was.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, nobody's watching it in the audience, and nobody's really watching it on TV either.
I'm watching.
Well, I'm glad you are, because it's keeping it on the air, and time or Spectrum.
See, that's that. Well, see, when we have
I
a
know.
wrestling show, we need to watch the product to be able to talk about it.
Well, unfortunately, my weekends have been tied up recently, so I really even haven't. I didn't even get to watch football.
I watch it on. I watch it on Monday. I DVR. It's DVR, but I still watch it.
Yeah, I have the parts of AEW that I like. I really like. You know, like I like the Dark Order coming out, trying to actually stop John Moxley's group, knowing they have no chance to do it. But at least they got TV time. You know, like, but I'm not gonna watch Collision to see, you know, basically an episode of Thunder, and that's
No, Collision is kind of like their Nitro. So it's so
so it's
it's
Dynamite if that's their Nitro.
Dynamite. What's it? Dynamite's their Nitro. No, Collisions could be another Nitro too. I mean, Collision's getting good.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll take your word for it.
It advances stories better than Rampage. Rampage like skips over it, but Dynamite and Collision have the consistency, and they each have their continuing stories on the show between the two. I don't know
Well,
what
unfortunately, between you and me, we know that Rampage is the Dead Man Walking show. They've already announced that it's not going to be continuing with the new deal. So now, they might do special Rampage episodes from time to time, but Rampage is unfortunately not going to be there after this new thing starts. Or if it is, it's going to be that Fox show on Fox Mexico. Anyways, ready to move on?
Yep. You're starting to lose.
Oh, one last thing I wanted to talk about Dynamite, because I didn't want to forget it. What was up with the Kip Sabian botching at the end of Dynamite last week, where he missed his spot and you heard Christian Cage yell so loud at him, he was like, "No, not yet!" And he literally hopped back down and hopped back over the railing, which caused Hangman Page to do the same shit and literally look like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" What did you think of that?
Yeah, that was amateur hour. I have to give it to you on that one. That was amateur hour. I don't know. It's kind of like when what was it? Who was it? Boss Man was supposed to come out and he's backstage talking to Undertaker and missed his cue. So it's kind of like I wonder what Sabian was doing. If you know what I'm saying, if he wasn't paying attention, if he missed his cue or he misunderstood. I don't. That's definitely a fuck up.
If I had to guess, I would say it's because Sabian hasn't been used so often that he's not used to cues. You know, but he fucked up Hangman, which, by the way, fucked up what was a good match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Christian's not missing his spot. Jay White is a pro. He's a former world champion. He's not missing his spot. But Sabian hopping that railing caused Hangman to end up climbing up, climbing back down, hiding, and then climbing back up. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, all right. Something that you might see on an NXT show, but you would not see on a SmackDown or a Raw. Let's just
I don't think you see it on the NXT show.
There's been mistakes, but NXT is the minor leagues. It's meant to be that way. Right? So
what I'm saying, they still seem more smooth.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
I think the biggest mistake
you don't get on NXT until they think you're TV ready.
I think that the biggest mistake I saw on NXT in a long time, and we talked about it, was the spot with Bouncy and RKO when he bounced off and Randy went for it, and that was just timing. and that was it still worked out, but that's probably hey.
It's funny you say that. You know what? Why don't we start talking a little bit about NXT? Uh, it's funny that you mentioned that because 10 years ago, when Kofi Kingston messed something up in Madison Square Garden, Randy Orton started yelling "stupid, stupid, stupid," which caused that whole Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa thing that they've been doing. But
But I think Evans slipped. I think the ropes that was, you know what I mean? And I don't know if that was Brandy's just mature now and they kind of understand, hey, shit happens.
well, that's exactly what it is, and it's the fact that the kid's 22 years old. There's a difference. When Kofi was probably 30 at the time because he's probably 40 something now, maybe 38, 30. I don't know. Maybe he was 29, whatever. But Javon Jackson,
Evans.
Javon Evans, Javon Evans sitting there like he went to jump and it didn't seem like he got in the air, so he landed and then Randy, being the pro that he is now, picked him up, looked at him, nailed him with it. And then, but after the match, you could actually see him mouthing something, and there was somewhere out there that actually put up captions for it. And he's like, "Hey man, you did good. It's a mistake. Everybody does it. Don't worry about it." And then he like tapped him on the face, like good kid, and that's something we wouldn't have gotten out of Randy Orton 10 years ago. So and we really wouldn't have gotten it from him when he first started. So like the maturity level is crazy, and I I was a little surprised to actually see Randy Orton have a match on that episode, especially since they downsized the arena that they were going to and everything.
But I think
But
because it was on they're starting to like their second week on CW,
yeah.
and they were from St. Louis. They just wanted to make sure that they got eyes. Pretty much,
Oh
I think
no,
it's
no,
just
no. Well,
CW
well,
wanted eyes.
Randy had already been like invested in going to that episode and everything. But my point is that having him wrestle on NXT, like now, granted, they did sell tickets and they sold out the place, but it was like 2,500 people. Whereas originally, that week after that Chicago, where that whole fucking place was full, like 10,000 people, like they couldn't sell 6,000 tickets. So they said, we're going to make it a smaller venue. But then they sold it out, so everything looked good on TV. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, anything special happened on NXT this week? I know that they started planning for their Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, we got what's his name? Ethan Page won the triple threat, so he's going to be facing
Trick Williams.
Trick Williams for the belt. Uh,
I mean Trick Willie. I'm sorry, Trick Willie. He changed his name. He changed his name. He said it.
I know, my brain's fried. Julia, and the new chick
Booker.
that came. They're challenging those girls. The
He's,
champion, the
he's talking about Roxanne and Cora
Cora
Jade.
Jane. Yeah,
Yes,
those girls. Um,
the hotness. That whole match is just full of hotness, man.
and then you had the Chase is back, so he came back to help the young kid who was fighting Rich Holland. Who? Why did you think he was going to beat Rich Holland? And I
He
was
did.
waiting for him. Look, so he ran through everybody. This kid was the last one he had. The only person that's left was Thea Hale. And I'm like, they're not gonna let him put his hands on Thea Hale, right? So, so
I
I
almost
think that's
picked
what
that up.
she kept hollering and getting in his face, but he would never touch her, which
She
caused
looks, she looks so silly, man. Like, I don't know what it is about her, but something like she just looks. I mean, obviously she is a child versus what all of these other people are. Like even the ones that are 22 are still like 3 years older than her. You know what I mean? Like she's just this little like package that just like stares up with her pigtails and goes, no.
yeah. So all of that happened. That was cool. So that's all NXT. That's a recap.
We also got the Don wanting to give props to Obafemi, and
And
then
Femi's like,
Obafemi said,
fuck you.
yeah, he said, drink it in while you can, because I'm gonna beat your ass.
And then they're doing ladders, tables, and scares.
Yeah, tables, ladders, and scares. And I don't
So,
know what that means, but remember the last time they did it was like Johnny Gargano versus like Austin Theory or something, and
mhm.
it ended with someone just randomly coming out and hitting someone with a cinder block or something in the back.
Stupid.
Stupid. But I have to say, so far since moving to the CW, and even before that, NXT's been firing on all cylinders, dude.
Oh, dude, it's been excellent. It's been excellent.
Like they can sell out a 2,000 person arena. They can sell out, like in Chicago, they sold out, like it was like 13,000 people when they did that.
I'm talking about content wise. I mean, just
But the content had been so hot going into that's why they were able to sit there and sell out those places.
yeah.
Because I mean the performance center is free.
Mhm.
If you're there when they're like, as long as you're there early enough to get in, you get a seat at the performance center. They
Yeah.
do that for free, and WWE is just eating all, like, except for like the merch sales and the food sales and whatever during that 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever. Pretty crazy, pretty awesome though at the same time. I've been very impressed the past couple weeks since they've been on the CW, and the ratings have, while they've gone down a little bit since the first week, almost hitting 1 million. They were what, 875 last week?
The answer, yeah, thanks what you sent me.
Something like that. So I mean, like they've been holding pretty well, and for a CW show, I mean, like if a CW show hits 2 million, it's like their biggest show. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Especially since it sounds like they got NXT for a steal. I think they got it for like 60 million a year.
Mm.
So, and they don't have to produce it. WWE does all the production, everything else. They just say, "Hey, we're going live." But there is one downside to NXT being on CW, and that's that CW has a hard out at 10 p.m. so they can start the news.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. I got a couple things up here that I noticed from last week. Specifically, that last one.
That's why I say that's the biggest thing.
Do you think that was the test to see whether or not Tiffy can make it as a babyface?
Oh, most definitely. Which you already know she can. They're already cheering Tiffy. When her music, when it hits, it's Tiffy time. That fucking place blows up.
And we saw that the first time when they went to Australia. Like, I don't know if they got a Barbie fetish in Australia or what the deal is, but like they had said, remember when they used to have the Swedish bikini team, and it was always like the commercials with that for like Coors Light or something, and it was always like just these gorgeous blonde girls sitting there wearing like the Swedish flag as like their bathing suits, but they'd be in like snow. You remember those?
Yeah.
So like for me, Tiffany Stratton is like that, but athletic.
Gotcha.
So like it surprises me that Australia was the first place that sat there and said, no, we need Tiffy. Whereas, like if they had been in Sweden or something, like her walking out, like she immediately would have been accepted, is based on, like me thinking about those old commercials.
But she I can't wait till she turns on, or when they have that explosion between her and Nia.
Well, I've already told you, I think what's going to happen is Nia Jax gets blowed up, but wins that match at Crown Jewel, and then Tiffy cashes in on her, so they both walk out with a championship, even though Nia's is only like that greatest Royal Rumble championship that Braun Strowman won that one year. You know what I mean? Like it really doesn't mean anything, but I think it will because Nia Jax still gets to sit there and say, well, I'm the queen of the ring and the Crown Rule champion or Crown Jewel champion. I think that's how they appease her, kind of like how The Rock right now is that people's champion with that belt.
Okay.
And I if they don't, they're missing an opportunity there. Like I don't expect them to do that with both the men's and the women's or whatever, but I do think that they could make the transition to Tiffany Stratton as the women's world champion, taking Nia Jax's title, and then even on the very next SmackDown when Nia Jax says, I want my title back, Tiffany Stratton be the one to sit there and say, but Nia, the only reason why I took that belt was so you don't have to defend 2 belts. We're still best friends. You have one with 50 carats of diamonds now. I only have a gold belt. You know, like almost downplaying her championship so that way she doesn't have to face Nia Jax. Like I could totally see that. And by the way, that's how I would do it. Like that's gold storytelling right there, if you ask me. Anyways, but the Raw thing with that, to me, I'm thinking to myself, okay, Rhea and Tiffany Stratton as a tag team? Like, this is not going to go well for anybody. You got quality wrestlers in there, don't get me wrong, but like the storytelling element of having it was Liv and Raquel, right? So so you have 2.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you have 2 specifically wanting to go against Rhea, and then you have Tiffy, who, I mean,
she's in there to soften up Liv for the Crown Jewel.
Right. But you'd almost expect, because they have Cody Rhodes come out on this Raw as well, that you almost expect Nia Jax to come out and go, Tiffy, now's the time that you hit Liv. You know, like
she did.
Yeah,
she did.
Yeah.
Did you not pay attention to the end of the match?
No, I did.
Okay.
So I said that's why you do that. The Cody Gunther showdown. What did you think? Did you freeze?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I mean, that he did with Roman. It wasn't anything new. It was Gunther acting like he's gonna lift Cody up because Cody was saying good things. So Gunther was saying good things, but they're all backhanded compliments, right? And so he's being arrogant like Gunther is. I don't know that. I don't know how that's going to turn out. I don't know that I think Gunther's going to beat Cody.
I think that he is. I think that Kevin Owens may actually cost Cody the match. I almost want Cody to win this match because I don't think Gunther needs it. And here's an interesting fact.
You think Cody needs it?
Well, here's the interesting fact. Gunther, we've already talked about on previous episodes, has like a 97% winning percentage since coming to the WWE, right? If Cody loses to Gunther, Cody, who beat Roman, who had that 1,000-day title reign, losing to Cody, and then Cody loses to Gunther, means that Cody really should not have the championship, right? Like there's some weirdness with the math and whatever. But the other part of it is that Cody hasn't won a singles match since May of 2023.
He's defended his title.
Well, Cody's defending his title now, but he hasn't lost a singles match since May of 2023.
Oh, hasn't lost. Okay, you said it. Okay, you said he had. I thought you said he hadn't won. You said he hadn't won a singles match. I'm like,
No.
He's won.
Yeah, no. He's won. He's won every match since May of 2023 when he lost to Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
Gunther has lost one match in the same amount of time, and before that, held his title for 666 days. So if you have Gunther beat Cody Rhodes, even if it's by Kevin Owens getting involved in the match, and the only way I would be okay with it is if if Kevin Owens gets in the ring and actually hits Gunther so that Cody gets disqualified. Like I almost don't want a pinfall or a submission in that match because you got to protect both champions. You know? Like, and that's why I love the idea of cashing in the women's Money in the Bank in their match, because that protects both champions while someone still loses the championship. You know what I mean? The other one, and there's, in my mind, there's no way that Liv Morgan can truly beat Nia Jax unless Dominic gets involved. So, like, or other members of the Judgment Day. I don't care who it is, but Big Head McDonough can run down and headbutt somebody. In fact, JD McDonough might be the only person that can put out a Samoan with a headbutt. That didn't even get a chuckle?
Boo.
Oh my God. Anyways. All right. I added something else to this. We had the Jay and Jimmy moment.
Jay actually smiled when he saw Jimmy. When he saw Roman.
No.
Away.
You're talking about SmackDown. On Raw, he did not. On Raw, he said, "Get out my face."
Okay, I'm getting confused. You're right.
Now, the interesting thing was they were all taped episodes. So when we saw Jay on SmackDown smile at Jimmy, I don't think that's what they wanted. So I think that was like, oh, we want to go here with this, but that oops kind of thing.
Oh, I didn't realize they were taped.
Yeah.
Why are they taped?
At least I thought they were taped. Maybe they were live. I thought they were doing like a European tour. Because they even showed pictures of Gunther and Cody in Europe sitting there shaking hands with Tom Aspinall, the UFC interim champion, like in the middle of the ring saying, "You guys should shake hands."
I mean, you could be right. I didn't realize they were taped. You might be right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure both of those episodes were taped so they could do a European tour. And I think that's why we got Roman on 2 straight episodes, by the way.
Gotcha.
Because they always bring him in for the episode, the live and the taped, so they get him on 2 in a row. They've been doing that for a while, and I've been paying attention to that part. Last part here with Raw that I want to talk about: War Raiders return. What did you think? We watched that at my house last week.
Yeah. Still, I think they were the what were they in ROH? It's still not what they were in ROH.
War Machine.
War Machine. I like them better as War Machine, but
they'd never been War Machine in WWE. So War Raiders.
They were War Raiders when they came to WWE at first, and they went the whole Viking thing. I thought it was good. Like we talked about last week. I hate that they fucking had to be Otis, the one that had to be sacrificed for that. But
well, was it Otis or was it Tozawa?
I think it was Otis. Even if it was, I mean, I hate that Otis. They're not pushing Otis correctly. They're not using him. I don't like the way they're using Otis. Otis could be so much more.
I mean, Otis. The crazy thing is how over. So I know you don't like me talking about Busted Open, but Nick. Hold on.
Well, because we talk about them, they don't talk about us. So we just.
I know. But Nick Nemeth is now one of the co-hosts on the show, and he talked about how the only time he ever had a singles match at WrestleMania was at the beginning of the pandemic in April of 2021. No, 2020, like right as it hit, and they shut everything down. And that was the only time he ever had a singles match at WrestleMania. And it was when he had the best show going on because it was him and Otis with Mandy Rose. And remember how Otis and Mandy were like an item, and Dolph was trying to get into it, and all of a sudden, like the match ended when like Dolph like threw Mandy and Otis caught her, and then they kissed, and then Otis finished the match by winning. Like, when you think about that, and you think about a guy like Dolph Ziggler who had a 20-year career in the WWE with 2 world title wins, multiple intercontinental titles, multiple US titles, like first ballot Hall of Famer, if you ask me. The fact that his only singles match ever at WrestleMania was against Otis shows exactly how over a character like Otis can actually get. And by the way, this Chad Gable stuff with Otis was getting Otis over the same way. I guess Maxine Dupree was also being that Mandy Rose character, except like everybody was sitting there going, man, when you look at your wrestling fan, you're like, we all want to be Otis in this moment, kissing Mandy Rose. Like, all of us do. But any guy that looks like Otis really wants that moment in their life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you're absolutely right. The fact that he's becoming the sacrificial lamb, he's becoming the R-Truth, he's becoming the joke character. Like, this guy was a Money in the Bank winner that never got to cash in the Money in the Bank. So I agree with you. But it was good to see Eric from the War Raiders back. It was good to see Ivar back. Eric looks like he's lost about 60 to 70 pounds. Like, I mean, he looked a lot smaller than Ivar. And Ivar actually was the one that looked like he missed a step because he used to do that cartwheel.
Cartwheel.
And the cartwheel always looked good. And then last week, the cartwheel looked like he was like, how do I do this? Like, it was like if I tried to do a cartwheel right now.
Oh, God.
So, all right. One more show to do, Tino. We're almost out. Bam. SmackDown. We had the Bloodline. We had the Kevin Owens statement, and then we had the Motor Shitty Machine Guns.
Did they show up?
Did you not see SmackDown?
I must have fell asleep. Did they actually show up?
Dude, they had their first match.
I guess too.
It was a triple threat. It was against A-Town Down Under and what was the other team?
Yeah, I missed that. I told you I started.
Berto and Angel. And by the way, WWE announced something different this week when it comes to tag team triple threats. Because in the past, when they did like a tag team triple threat, there'd only be 2 guys in the ring at one time, right? Ow, I just hurt my knee.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I just my monitor ended up doing that thing where it's like, oh, hey, we want you to do that weird thing with it. I feel like I dumped something though, but I didn't. So where do you want to start? Because obviously the show started with the Bloodline. Bloodline comes down. They start talking in the middle of the ring. Solo sitting there saying, Jay doesn't want any part with blah, blah, blah. Jay comes down. So suddenly they're really getting ready for Survivor Series, right? Because they're starting to build that up. Jay comes down. He's doing and Michael Cole's doing it, and everybody's doing it, and Jay sits there and says, "I don't want to fight you." And then he sits there and he says the thing that everybody in the WWE's actually said, which is, you got Tama, you got Tonga, and you got Jacob, and there's a reason why we didn't want them here.
Yeah. And then he said, and if he keeps looking at me, I'm gonna beat his ass right now. Now I want you to pay attention to that, right? So he came out talking all this smack, he said, and the next time you see me, it's not so which I
It's
thought
going to
he's
be
gonna come.
different,
Yeah,
which
so I
means
thought
tonight when he's
yeah,
going up against Braun Breaker,
I
Braun
don't think
Breaker.
it's gonna be solo. I don't think it's gonna be
No,
solo.
it's going to be
I
Jacob.
think it's gonna be Jacob. No, but he
Well,
told Solo,
I think it's going to be the
he,
whole bloodline.
but more importantly, I think it's gonna be Jacob. But no, he told Solo next time you see me, it's gonna be different. He wasn't saying that to Jacob, he was saying that to Solo because Cole go, you can stop calling me little brother. And so,
What?
it's like, okay.
So by the way, I thought that was one of Solo's best promos that he has cut, and the fact that he was the one sitting there running it down, and then all of a sudden when Jay comes out and he looks at him and he goes, "No, Yeet," like it felt like he was in control for a moment. Jacob's sitting there doing that whole and he's like, "You best tell that guy to stop looking at me like that." Like that literally sounds like how those things go down. And I'm okay with it. I'm down for it. Like I want to know how they're going to get Sammy involved with this.
My favorite part of that whole thing had nothing to do with them. It was the backstage segments with Roman and Jimmy. And there's that one point when Roman's just sitting there.
I know what you're talking about.
Roman's in the chair just thinking, and they pan out. And Jimmy's like this. And Roman goes, "What are you doing?" He said, I'll just like the wise man. He goes, "But you're not the wise man."
He goes, "You're not very wise." And then Jimmy goes, "Yeah, you're right."
But that made me pop when they pan out and Jimmy's just like this.
He's just
And,
right
Ray-
here.
and Roman goes, "What are you doing?"
Like I don't know why they're going super silly with their conversations now, but I'm
I
digging
think
it.
I think they're still trying to I think they're trying to keep Roman kind of face, and I think they're trying to make him more, I don't want to say soft, but more, more, because when Roman was heel, he was just so arrogant. And I think they're showing now that Roman can kind of show that comedic side too. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, 100%. I agree with all that. I think that when you've got Roman in those moments, he's more us,
Yes.
and it's funny because it doesn't feel forced anymore.
Yes. And I think too, it doesn't hurt that that's his cousin, that's family, that's somebody he can, and that he's worked with. I mean, over those 3-4 years, and they were like
Yeah.
tight, so they know each other. They know how to probably pop each other or get each other to pop. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was Jimmy trying to fuck with Roman to get him to pop.
Yeah, no, and we know that the moments that get the most play on the internet are when they pop.
Especially
And
Roman.
absolutely, like when he was like, so you're saying he's not feeling very oozy, and then Jay's like, and then Roman's sitting there and he's like, and that's more than anything else, I have a feeling that's why Sami Zayn is currently not involved in a story. And if I had to guess, you're talking about how the bloodline or Jacob Fatu might try to stop, Jay Uso's reign with the Intercontinental title. There's a good possibility that Sammy's the one that tries to make the save there. And if Sammy makes the save for Jay, then Sammy could be the one that talks Jay into working with Roman again.
Okay.
Which, by the way, could also lead to a Sami Zayn WrestleMania match against his best friend, Kevin Owens.
That's always a good match.
Absolutely. And it would be up near the top of the card this year. Because it's not going to be, or it could be the very first match on the card. I don't know, but it could be a very high up match on the card. Kevin Owens' statement when it came to Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes I thought he messed up when he said it because he was like, the fact that you would back Cody Rhodes. I didn't realize he was talking about Randy Orton in that moment. I thought he was talking about Cody Rhodes, and then he said Cody Rhodes again. And I guess a backstage segment cut like that, there's no way that they would have made that mistake. So I thought about it, and I was able to go, okay, he's talking about Randy Orton. Now, this kind of makes me think that we've got a crown jewel match, which is going to be Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens, or a Survivor Series match of Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens.
Well, I think so. Survivor Series will probably be Owens and Rhodes. So I'm thinking that Orton and Owens match would probably be the crown jewel.
Yeah, because originally they were saying, oh, it looks like the main event for Saturday night's main event is going to be Owens versus Orton, and I don't think so. I think that this is going to play out a little bit quicker and give Cody multiple opportunities. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they, well, actually, if it's Crown Jewel, there's no way they're going to do this, but if it was Saturday night's main event and it was Orton versus Owens, I could see Cody Rhodes being the special guest referee.
Okay.
Which would set up a Royal Rumble triple threat between the three of them.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where we're headed with the three of them. And then I think after Owens loses that match and Sami Zayn sitting there talking to him backstage, they get into a fight, and before you know it, that's their main event. That's their WrestleMania match. Quick note when it comes to Kevin Owens. We all talk about how his contract is coming up in WWE right now. And the rumor is that they've got an offer on the table that is a big money offer to keep Kevin Owens. And they're also putting him in these big showdowns against the top guys like they always do. So rumor is that Kevin Owens looks like he's going to continue staying there instead of going and being with his friends, Adam Cole and the Bucks in AEW. Do you think that this is fact, or do you think that this is something where he's playing it right now so he stays at the top of the card? So if he goes to AEW, he ends up right in the middle of everything at the beginning.
I think he's playing it because if he goes now, he's going to be another Miro. I think they might like he'll like they do. They'll the newest toy, the WWE star, and he'll be up there for a couple of months, and he's like, it's Miro. You don't know where he is. You know what I'm saying? I think he should stick with WWE. That's where Sammy is. That's where I wonder if they're going to give him another title run. I doubt that. Are they dangling that in front of him, or do you think just staying in the upper card is enough for him?
I think that if he sits there and re-signs, he will not only stay at the top of the card, I think he will actually get one of those titles at some point again. He knows where the top of the business is. And he's not one of those guys like Ricochet where they're going to be like, hey, we're going to give you 500,000, like we're going to double your minimum, which was 250. We're going to make that 500. And then you're going to get your merch. He was already making $3 million a year. So if they're making him a big money offer, like it's going to be in the ballpark of what Tony Khan's offering. I think that he knows we're hitting record gates. I'm being one of the top guys in all of these shows. I'm going against the top guy in the industry multiple times a year. Like, I'm going to sell my shirts. I'm going to make my money. If he gets a raise from $3 million to $4 million a year, that's more than Tony Khan pays almost anybody. Mm-hmm. But then on top of that, he's also getting how much from his merch?
Yeah.
He's probably making 9 or 10, he's probably doubling or even more than that. There was a story that came out just not too long ago where The Rock was actually talking to people in Wall Street, and he was talking about how like when he was younger and he knew that Stone Cold was making $1 million a year, but he was making $12 million because of his T-shirts. He said he wanted to make what Austin was making, and McMahon told him, "Hey, you need to go out. You need to actually like learn the business, so that way you can come back to me and tell me what you're really worth." Then he went ahead and he did that for a month. He came back. Vince McMahon was like, "Well, what did you learn?" He goes, "I learned I should ask for $2 million." And he's like, "Okay. Well, I could give you $2 million guaranteed, and that's it. Or I could give you our downside guarantee, and based on your merch sales, do you know what you'd make this year?" And he was like, "No, I don't." And he goes, $15 million. So, like, there are people like Owens that even if he's the number 6 guy on the card, is going to pull in 10 million, you know? Last thing I want to talk about real quick. I know we only got 5 minutes before you want to get out of here. Motor City Machine Guns made their WWE debut.
Did they win?
Won their match. I think they're going against the DIY to determine the number 1 contenders now for the SmackDown titles. They look good. They look crisp. They look fresh. They look fast. They look like everything we saw when we saw them at the DPW show. I think that I think that it's obvious. I wanted to say this earlier when we were talking about AEW. I think it's obvious the reason why they didn't go to AEW was because they would A, get lost in the shuffle, and B, they now that they don't have the Penta and Rey Fenix, that AEW would just keep jobbing them to the Young Bucks. You know, you got guys that are basically the same age, basically the same caliber of athlete and everything else. And I guarantee that even though the Motor City Machine Guns would probably win the first time that they faced them, they would have immediately been this thing where all of a sudden they're losing 2 or 3 in a row to the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
So I think they made the right decision. You know, and we were, you know, what we had heard versus what actually happened. We originally heard that they might go to NXT. They did not. They may still make appearances there because the WWE is going to pay them their downside guarantee to show up at the free show. But overall, I mean, like, I think it was the right decision for them. And I like seeing that the WWE is making smart decisions with who they decide to sign versus who they don't.
Yes. No, I'm glad that now I'm just waiting to see how they push them.
I like the fact that we actually got to see them at one of their last indie shows.
Yes.
Before they actually went there, because you know, like, they still left it kind of up in the air as to where they were going from it. And there were reports both ways. Like, they could have went to AEW. They could have, but I think Triple H actually knows that, like, with as young as they're getting with their talent that they're bringing up, like, your Garganos and your Ciampas are the same age as the Guns, right? But if you look at Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, they're probably still 6 or 7 years younger than these guys, so they can still learn something from them.
Yeah,
you know, your Waller and Austin Theory, those guys are both like, what, 24?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, you put them in the ring with the Motor City Machine Guns, as good as they already are at their age. Imagine what they're going to be doing when they hit 31.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's about all I got, man. But seeing the Motor City Machine Guns actually show up and wrestle this week, getting a win in their first appearance on WWE television, like, it's things like that remind you that the WWE is in a whole new world now, because they're taking teams that have been all over the world, and they talked about how they were like 11-time champions in New Japan, TNA, Ring of Honor, all over, and they talked about it. So like the fact that, like, unfortunately for them, they didn't launch them in a city that they were really well known. Like if they had launched in Detroit, that shit would have blown up, because Motor City, right? But they were in South Carolina, and it was like you heard it, but it wasn't like when the Hardy Boys show up, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where I think they should be, is a Hardy Boys group. Now they keep doing what they did this past week, they'll be there without a problem. So we got some final thoughts. We got Michael Turner saying good show, guys. We
Thank
got
you.
Rick Barrett saying you can only talk about companies that you work with, like TNA and All Japan. I don't think so. I think they actually did say some of the other groups, but either way, they said that they were like 11-time tag team champions, which I think is important to talk about. With that, Tino, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where to find you?
You find me on Twitter at HootieFan91. I am on Insta, SC Tino. TikTok, I am Tino R Great Music. Snapchat, SC Tino as well. You can find us here at the Potsy and Tino Show on Facebook, Potsy and Tino on Twitter. We're here each and every week right here on the Pots and Pan Network. Please subscribe, give us thumbs up, like, buy our shit. Thank you to Adam's House Cats for the wrestling song. You can buy it on iTunes for 99 cents. 99 Jones.
I was going to say Adam Housecat Jones.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at Potcheck. You can find me on Snapchat at, I think it's actually Potsy was taken. You can find me. I've been saying Rob Potsy Potcheck forever, but Instagram Rob Potcheck, Twitch, and I'm sorry, YouTube, which is where you're probably watching us right now, is Rob Potcheck. But then everything else is Rob Potsy Potcheck. I also want to thank Adam's House Cat for the wrestling song Jones. And with that, I think we can get some. I'm gonna do Motor City Machine Guns again. I know it's hard to hear, but folks, I'm gonna leave us with the Motor City Machine Guns because they got introduced on WWE programming this week, and you should watch them. Here we go.
Good night.
Ready? Motor City Machine Guns and Potsy and Tino.
For the Potsy and Tino Show.
Thanks for watching.